Okay, are you guys ready for a pool day?
Yes!
Let's go!
Let's go! Wait, my toy! Let's go!
Hi, welcome to another reading vlog. So, I wasn't gonna do this, but you guys convinced me, and I'm gonna do it. This reading vlog will be about the rest of the ACOTAR series. Now, I don't know if I'm gonna do it in one whole big video, or if I'm gonna split each video per book. Unfortunately, A Court of Mist and Fury, I did not vlog. I'm so sorry. I didn't think about it. I wasn't gonna do this vlog, but here we are. But I will say that is by far my favorite book in the series. I am so in love with Feyre and Rhysand, and I really love Rhysand. Like, I love this series so much. I almost joked to my husband the other day, and I don't have any tattoos, by the way, but I'm like, I love this series so much that I see myself getting a tattoo of the Night Court. Honestly, like, if you guys have read the series, you know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna really try to keep this vlog spoiler free, but I will tell you my reactions to certain things. If you guys are interested in me reading the fourth book in the series, which I heard that one, the shortest one, which I heard that one is probably everybody's least favorite for some reason. With spoilers, just let me know, and my next vlog will be about that. But for now, we're gonna keep it spoiler free, but you'll still be able to follow me along and see the reactions. So let's talk about A Court of Mist and Fury. Give me 1 second. I mean, obviously, guys, my reactions would be a lot better if I was just done with the book, but I recently just finished the book maybe a couple days ago, and I am on A Court of Wings and Ruin now. I'm on page 262, and this is what this vlog is going to be about, mainly about this book. But let's talk about A Court of Mist and Fury. I mean, I now know why everybody loves this book, like why this is everybody's favorite book in the series. I absolutely love it so much. Like, I can't describe how much I love it. Again, the character development is getting better and better. We're getting to know more of Feyre. We're getting to know more of Rhysand. We're getting to know more of Feyre's sisters, Elaine and Nesta. By the way, I still hate Nesta. I still hate her, okay? I don't know if my opinion will change, but for now, I hate her to my core. I just don't like her. I don't like her, and you guys know for reasons why. Tamlin, the first book, Tamlin, yeah, the first book, I was completely blindsided by him. I loved him. I loved his character. I loved how much he loved Feyre. Now, my opinions are changing. My opinions have changed. And that's all I'll say, because I don't want to ruin it for any of you that haven't read the books. I'm loving where the story ended, or where this book ended. I just love how Miss Sarah J. Maas is so good with her writing, to the point where she manipulates the hell out of you. Meaning, you will love certain characters and then you will come to hate them, or you will hate the characters in the beginning and you will come to absolutely love them, to die for them, to like battle with them, to like stand by their side in war. Like, that is how I feel, okay? That is how I feel. And to be honest with you, I will share this. I know that when you guys watched my June TBR, I had a very ambitious TBR, and I did not address this when I was making the video today, which is so annoying, but whatever. I had a very ambitious TBR. I wanted to read the entire series. I also had my husband pick out a book for me. I did not get to read his book. Okay, but that was because I was consumed in ACOTAR, okay? I have been binging these books, and I don't regret anything at all. That's all I'm gonna say. But anyways, I love this book. I'm probably gonna read it again at some point, and maybe like down the road, I'll do a separate vlog, like maybe like a couple months from now, so I can just, you know, like almost feel like I am reading the book for the very first time, because the experience that I got reading this book, my God, I'm just mind blown, okay? I'm mind blown, especially for a new fantasy reader. This is everything and anything I could want in a fantasy, and I am so obsessed. So obsessed with Ryzen so far. I'm so obsessed with him. Let's talk about the book that we are doing a reading vlog on, which is A Court of Wings and Ruin. This is the third book in the ACOTAR series, and one of you guys told me, I knew that the first book had to do with the Beauty and the Beast retelling, and then you guys also advised me that it's based off of certain fairy tales. So that is very interesting to know that. So far, I'm liking where it's going. I still feel giddy. I still feel like my heart still feels for certain characters. We're getting to know more of Feyre's sisters in this story. I'm just excited. I'm not very thrilled about, so far, the fact that they have to, like, honestly guys, I really don't know how I'm gonna do this vlog without spoiling anything. I don't know how I feel about the details of the war and of the fact that they might be going to war. Nonetheless, I'm still enjoying it. I'm still experiencing this fantasy high. Other characters have been introduced. I'm still enjoying the ride. Let's just say Feyre, like, I'm loving her more and more as these books progress, because I just love how badass she is. I love how she first started off as being this timid young girl, very afraid of everything, very afraid of the fairy world, of the fae, of the high lords of those lands, to now being this badass person. Like, absolutely love her. And I think it's very important. Like, I'm starting to realize it is very important, if I'm going to commit to a series, it is very important to like the main character. You know, I don't know. Maybe I could be wrong. Maybe there are going to be fantasy books that I read that I don't like the main character, but I like what they do. Like, I've seen Game of Thrones. I should read that series, but I've seen Game of Thrones, and you absolutely hate everybody. And then, you know, things happen. So, actually, no, I hated everybody and I was right, and then I didn't like them. I don't remember in the Game of Thrones ever being like, oh, I hate this person and now I like them. I don't remember. But then again, I haven't watched that show in so long, so I don't know. I did think about reading that book, those books, because I know the books are probably 10 times better than the show. But anyways, besides the point. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm taking my sweet time reading this book. Again, I am just devouring it, but at a slow pace, because I just don't want to miss anything. So when I have another update, I'll tell you. Excuse my hot mess express that I look right now. We had pool day today. We just got done. The kids are bathing in the bath. I just wanted to pop on here and tell you guys my opinions, and yeah, I will let you know when I have another update. You know what's so annoying? I went outside while the kids were in the pool, and I sat on the couch, and I went outside with the intentions of reading the book. I couldn't, because I'm the kind of person that I need to read with headphones or something on, especially if my kids are like just screaming in the background. I just can't channel that out. So I had sunscreen and it was hot, and like the book already looked, I don't know if you can see it, but it looks warped, okay? It looks warped, and that's annoying. Anyways, this book right here, this one is beat up. But this one already, before I even finish it, is like worn. When I read, I don't really care about like not bending the binding, which I know it's silly, but I should care because these books are not cheap. You know, I'm reading the book. I have to be comfortable reading it, especially a book like this. So already the spine is all bent. You know, it's peeling from the corners. But I will say, I like to buy books in perfect condition and not have it worn out before I use it. But I don't mind worning out the book. I don't know. Anyways, I'm going to get the kids out of the bath, and then it'll be dinner time. And then after that, obviously I'm going to shower and just take care of this hot mess. Then after that, it's going to be some quiet time, and then I'll probably try to get some more reading done tonight. Honestly, I really don't know how long this vlog is going to go. I've been taking my sweet time reading this book, and I don't regret it. Good morning. It's the next day, it's Friday. I did not get to read anything at all, so I have no update. But I stayed up very late last night, because I needed to finish editing a video that I want to post today. So I literally ended up staying up until 1:30 in the morning. I got the video done. I'm going to schedule it soon to post today, but I'm really, really tired. And it's going to suck for me today because today I clean the house on Fridays, so have to do that, have to do laundry, and have to do all of the mundane, all of those things. Anyways, I'm going to sit in my reading chair and I'm going to read a little bit, see if I can get some reading done before I get really busy this morning. So I'll try to pop in later, hopefully with an update as far as how my reading is going with this book. So I finally got a chance to pop in here just to give you guys, I don't know, a little bit of an update because I really didn't read much. So this morning we have been dealing with the people that the manufacturer or the company that comes and installs our fridge for a while. We moved into this house in October and we're still dealing with repairs and fixes and all that stuff, which is fine. I'm not complaining about that. However, I am like at this point, it's almost laughable because this is the third time the fridge company comes to fix the door. The first time it was dented, the second time it was dented in the inside, the third time today, when you close it, it creaks. Like, anyways, I'm dealing with that. So usually on Fridays, I clean my house because I just want to relax and be able to enjoy my family on the weekends. Today was no different. They came in, they tried to refix our fridge again, which was not successful. And I didn't really get to read much. I only got to read maybe like 10 pages this morning before I started getting busy cleaning the house. I'm finally done. I feel so accomplished. I also have a video that I'm going to post today that I worked last night on. Stayed up till 1:30 and worked last night on it. So I feel super productive, and I'm just glad that all the mundane things that I have to do around the house are pretty much done. All I have to do really is laundry. That's about it. But anyways, I wanted to come on here and just say a little statement. Just give you one of my many opinions. So I'm on page 274 and there's a character in here that is introduced or talked about, you know, briefly in the past couple of books. Well, this one, he makes a presence again, and it's more, like, it seems like it's more promising because I feel like he's going to be part of this book, or he's going to be popping up a lot in this book, and that is Eris. I hope I'm saying his name right, but Eris. Once again, right now, in this series, in the beginning of these books, you know briefly about him. You know that he's not a good person. You know that you hate him. And then he made this little comment in here that kind of like changes everything. I don't know if I'm looking into it too much, but to me, it kind of like, are you really the character that I think you are? Are you really evil? Are you really bad? Or is this kind of an underlying act of something else that is going on. He says a little comment in here that Switch is kind of like a light bulb on me, and I don't know, maybe I'm just overthinking it. Maybe I'm looking into this too much, but I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to see where his character development goes from here. Because right now, we as the readers, as the audience, do not like him. So all I'm just gonna read to you is basically one thing that he says to Feyre, which I'm like, what's going on here? Like, what is the purpose of this character and why is he being introduced back into this book, other than the fact that maybe he's going to be very essential and the fact that maybe I'm going to start to like him. I don't know. I could be wrong, but this is all I'm going to read you. You know nothing about what happened that day. Nothing. I mean, shall I say more, guys? If you've read the series, you know what I'm talking about. Did you have these same feelings during this part of the book? Do you remember having these same feelings? Because I will say I am easily manipulated by a story, a book, a character. I don't really look into a lot of things. I don't really read into things. I don't try to solve mysteries. I just, even if it's right there in front of my face, I don't try to do that. So maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not, but I'm curious. I'm actually curious to read what happens. And literally mid-sentence, like mid-paragraph, I had to stop because I had to, clean the house and do all that. But anyways, right now it is 1:25. We're gonna have lunch and then I'm gonna upload that video, work on editing my June wrap-up video, and then just have a great day with the kids. They've been actually really good today. They've been playing all day. Usually when I clean the floor, they're pretty good so far. I just have to tell them once to just wait until the floor is dry for them to start running around the house. It just feels so good that I got everything I wanted to get done, and it's only, what did I say? 1:30. I will check back in with you guys when I have another update other than that one sentence that I read. But I'm curious. I'm very, very curious. So, video uploaded. Now we are going to be making a cake.
Yep, a cake. This is my collection. That's Jack's collection, and this is for everyone.
The kids have been very good today, so let's make this cake. This is probably the worst time to do a little sit down update with you guys because my husband's literally outside banging on hammers and nails. He's building outside, but this is probably the only time I'm gonna have right now to seriously get the freshest thoughts out of my head about what I've read so far. So I figured I might as well just do it. I'm sorry if you hear background noise, that is my husband. So I'll be honest with you, I haven't read that much the last couple of days. Like yesterday, I literally read 10 pages. But that was because I have been editing videos. I've been very busy being productive for my channel, which is really good, but I haven't been reading. And I did say in my previous clips that I am taking my time reading this one. It's not that I don't enjoy this book in the series, it's just that at least war is being introduced and it's a little bit heavy on that kind of topic, the conflicts that other courts have had and other high lords have had and the history of the war. So that doesn't intrigue me as much. It is interesting, but it doesn't intrigue me as much as wanting to pick up the book right away. And also I am taking my sweet time because I see myself rereading a sentence a couple of times because my mind is not invested right now in what's happening in the book. Don't get me wrong, again, I will express it is interesting. The writing is amazing, but I'm not as invested. Therefore, I'm rereading certain sentences a couple of times because I really don't want to miss any essential detail because I know with Sarah J. Maas, for right now, what I'm experiencing and what I know is that every little detail and element that's breadcrumbed or sprinkled on throughout the stories are going to be essential and vital towards the end of the book or towards the entire series itself. So I don't want to miss anything as far as that goes. So I want to make sure I'm invested in understanding the character development with specific characters that are not popping into the story. Also the world and the issues and the politics and the world building and the descriptions and all that stuff. So I'm trying to keep up with everything. But I'm still having a great time and I'm still enjoying it. I'm just reading this super slow at the moment. With the 10 pages that I read yesterday and some of the pages that I read this morning, I will say that I am very intrigued to learn about Eris's motives. I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but I'm very intrigued to learn about his motives. Again, it's one of those characters where you are told and you learn that he is a specific character that you do not like, but something is happening where I'm changing my mind about how I feel about him, even though the characters right now in the story really don't like him and are appalled by the fact that he is even popping up. I am intrigued. I want to read more. I'm getting more of his backstory. I'm also getting more of Amren's backstory and it's very interesting. Also learning more about Nesta, which I still have strong feelings towards disliking her, but I'm learning more about her. So the character building again is phenomenal. It's still progressing and getting better and better with each character. Something happened with Elaine, which is Farah's other sister. I don't want to say anything, but she had a vision or she's talking all this sort of, it seems like nonsense, but I know it's going to be essential throughout the story, or it's almost like a warning sign. I feel like it's a warning sign of what's to come. It's almost more of like the author telling you, buckle up, you're in for a ride and maybe not a good one. I might be reading into it, but I enjoy the fact that Sarah Maas does this for you, where you just have to sit and reflect and think of what possibilities, or at least I'm thinking of what possibilities could happen, could come, what the outcome could be, all on just one little sentence that one of the characters said. So I'm very intrigued. But again, I have to push through the slow pace right now of the book and what's happening, see where it goes from there. So yeah, that's my update. Right now, I'm gonna make the kids and me a snack. Then later on it'll be lunchtime, but I really plan on trying to read a lot today since my husband's here to help me with the kids. I plan on reading quite a bit. My goal today, and has been every single day I'm reading, to literally just read 100 pages a day. And some days are easier than others. Today, I really want to get the bulk of my reading done with this book because I'm just intrigued on what's going to happen. I also want to provide more updates for you guys. I'm going to try not to work today. I'm going to try not to edit a lot. It gets very addicting when I sit down and I just am in the zone editing, but I need to like set myself time to actually read because this is a reading channel, so I do have to read. When I don't read as much as I want to, I get in this annoying mood that it's like I'm itching for it, you know, like I'm itching to read and I have so many things going on that I can't, and it just bugs me. It bugs me to death because reading to me has become so essential special in my life. I have just found my sense of peace every time I read. Like, you guys have no idea how important reading is to me. That is what I'm going to do today. Tonight also, we have our friends coming over. It's his birthday. Him and his girlfriend are coming over. We're going to have a little birthday celebration for him. Just a low-key barbecue dinner, and maybe just hang out, have some drinks, have some wine, and just chat. So we're doing that. Again, gotta get some reading done. I will update you guys when I have another one. Okay, food for thought. So I'm on page 304 right now, and I remember one of you guys telling me that these books are based off of fairy tales, and I wasn't sure if it was just the first book in the series or if it's every book incorporates some type of fairy tale. I caught one. At first I was like, I don't know if I'm reading into this too much, but I don't see any fairy tale aspects to these books, or I haven't, except for the first one, just a snippet of it. I caught a sentence and I'm like, oh, that's from a fairy tale. So it made me really excited. And let me just read it to you because you all are gonna guess and know what it is. And that is, let me see. It's really hard to hold this big giant book with also this camera. Let me just prop you differently because this is a struggle for me. Okay, so it says on page 304, it says, some of the philosophers had suggested as much, though they hadn't known her name, only that a dark queen had once possessed it, cherished it, spied on the world with it, and used it to hunt down beautiful young maidens to keep her eternally young. So there's a scene in here where they're trying to retrieve a mirror that has very special powers, hence Snow White. It is said that the witch known as the Weaver in the Woods possesses it, and only she possesses it because nobody else can have it without being fully in terror by looking at it or without running away from it. It says, I could not find an account of anyone who had mastered it, faced what lurked within, and walked away with the mirror in their possession, save for the Weaver in the Wood, who certainly seemed insane enough, perhaps thanks to the mirror she'd so dearly loved. Or perhaps whatever evil lurked in her had tainted the mirror too. Some of the philosophers had suggested as much, though they hadn't known her name, only that a dark queen had once possessed it and cherished it, spied on the world with it, and used it to hunt down beautiful young maidens to keep her eternally young. I mean, that has to be Snow White, right? That is Snow White and the evil queen who looks upon the mirror and, asks, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest one of all? I caught it. It feels good. It feels good. So I can say just by that paragraph that maybe I just haven't caught it in the last 3 books. I don't know. You guys correct me if I'm wrong, but this does incorporate some hidden fairy tale-esque elements within certain books or within each of the books. And this one, or at least that section or that paragraph, hints and points out at Snow White. So anyways, I'm going to go back to reading because I'm reading super slow. Yeah. So it's the next day. I seriously haven't vlogged much the last couple of days because, again, like I said, I've been reading through this book, specifically this book, super slow, or a little slower than the rest of the books that I've read so far. So I haven't really had a lot of opinions other than the war aspects of it are not the most intriguing. I mean, they're interesting, but it's not what I'm here for. Like, I want to read more of the romance portions of it, of the intensity of feelings, things like that. Other than that, I still am enjoying the book. I'm just reading at my own pace. So I'm on page 398, and let me just tell you, okay, all I'm gonna say is I love so much how romance is brewing between two specific characters right now. I'm not gonna name them because I don't want to give anything away, but romance is brewing and it's, ugh, I'm getting anxious. These little breadcrumbs that are sprinkled in this part of the book right now are just not enough for me. I feel like I just want to keep reading a little more of their interactions with each other, because just the little snippet that I got, it was just enough to make me root for them and their potential romance in the future. So I really love this. I really love how the characters' personalities amongst each others are unraveling slowly. I think Sarah J. Maas does that very well in these books, and that's what keeps me going. Not only the sense of it being slow at times with the politics and the war talks and all that stuff, but she reels you back in when she gives you these little tiny, like, snippets, these little tiny little teasers of romance brewing within the characters, and I'm just absolutely here for it. I am loving it. I'm like that far into the book. I just had to pop on here and share that before I end up forgetting of these little exquisite breadcrumbs that are being laid out for me. I'm super excited about these characters, and that's all I'm gonna say. This is not the first time that these characters' feelings were brewing a little bit in the story, but towards this part of the story, I am now rooting for them, whereas the beginning it was just really tiny hints of something, but not enough to be like, okay, so there is something going on between them. You know, very tiny things were being introduced in the previous chapters, but not enough for me to be like, okay, now I'm ready. Now I'm ready to read more about what is happening with these two. Like, now I'm ready to see what's gonna happen. And I know that once they get together, I'm gonna be like, finally, I'm gonna, because it's going so slow, you know, it's going slow, but still keeping you intrigued in a sense. Anyways, I'm done ranting. I'm done ranting about what is happening right now. I'm just wanted to share my thoughts. I can't wait to read more about what that entails. That's it. It is Wednesday, July 5th, and I haven't updated this vlog in a couple days just because I'm not really liking right now where the story's at. Like, I know that they have to go to war and stuff, but I just honestly, I don't care. I do care if something happens to the characters, but I don't care about this part of the story at all. I'm almost done with the book. I'm like on page 500 and something, and honestly, I just really don't care. Like, I want this to like pick up in a different way. I just don't care to read about the war aspect of it, even though it's super essential in the story. I just don't care. So I'm not hating this book at all. I'm just not as in love or enjoying it as the other two books in the series for now. I know that there's other characters and other things are being revealed, and I know that that's good, but I enjoy those parts, but I literally just don't care. I have a plan on finishing this book, if not tomorrow, the next day, and then I'll probably take a little break from the series. I'll read something in between, just like a palate cleanser, so that I can continue it later. Because right now, after reading so much of the war and so much of the preparations of it, I'm just like, ugh, I don't want to jump into the fourth book. And I heard the fourth book is not that great, so luckily it's only like 200 and something pages, but I've heard it's not that great. So I don't want to jump into that and put myself in a book slump. So I'm probably going to take a little break, read a book or two in between, and then jump back into the series and probably try to finish it this month. That is my update. Those are my thoughts. Probably the next time you see me is when I close out this vlog. Okay? Good morning. It is I don't even know. It is Friday, July 8th, I think. Friday, July 8th. Let me see. Friday, July 7th. I don't even know if I'm going to post this clip, honestly, because as you can see, I am bawling. Bawling, and I was bawling hysterically, okay? I'm on page 670 during this chapter, a couple pages before that. Something so tragic, I mean tragic, happened in the book, and honestly, like, I had to keep reading because I was bawling hysterically the entire time because I could not fathom, I could not even imagine what was happening, specifically because this character in the story is so essential. He is like so essential that I would have been so devastated if the story went that route, and hopefully it hasn't, because I've read a couple more sentences. But man, I was so devastated, like so devastated. I am gonna finish this book today. I don't know. I'm leaning towards a 4.5 or a 4.75, only because this book was more war driven and more action packed. And I've learned, as far as with my experience throughout this whole series so far, I've learned that the action of this book or of fantasy is not really my thing. Like, I don't know if I really like reading too much of that. I like more of the relationships and the friendships and the romance built within the story and the characters. And I look forward to reading more about that than I do about the intense action scenes. Although those give me like an adrenaline rush, and I have to keep reading, I don't really enjoy reading those kind of scenes back to back to back to back. And I feel like this book is mainly about war and battle and settling things and issues that have been going on in this political world for years and years. Hi, it's the same day. What you witnessed in my last clip was my battery dying completely on me, but the good thing is I've reviewed the video and I said what I needed to say before, avoiding getting into too much detail and possibly giving you a spoiler. I'm glad that when my battery died, I'm glad that it died when it did, before I went on a rant and spoke more about things that I shouldn't be speaking to you about, because this vlog is non-spoiler. It's spoiler free, so I want to keep it that way. I don't want to change my mind. I want to keep it that way for you guys. I finished the book, and I don't know if the lighting's good right now. I'm kind of testing out different spots around the house, because if I really can avoid trying to use a light on my face, I really want to just avoid that. But anyways, I finished the book. Glad to say I finished the book. It took me longer than it did my other books. This was the biggest book of all of them so far that I've read, and it did take me longer because it was very heavy on the war and the battles. Obviously it had to be, because in this world there is issues, political issues and feuds and things like that that have been active many years, hundreds and hundreds of years. So I get why this book mainly focused on the war and the battles and the issues that each court and each land had, and the high fae and the humans had amongst each other. I get that 100%. In the beginning, as I'm reading this book, I was gonna give this book 4.5, 4.75, but honestly, I have to give it a 5, because you can't really blame the story where it went in this book, because it had to. In fantasy, what I'm learning, or at least in this series, what I'm learning is there has to be something at high stake, and there has to be some type of battle or war going amongst the characters or amongst the courts in order to cover why this feud has been going on for years and years, right? As much as I would just love to dance around the romance and the character building and the character development and the friendships that come to fruition along the way, I think it's safe to say that that's not really what fantasy is. Even though this is very strong fantasy romance, I think it needs a little bit more than that to make it more interesting, I guess. With that being said, I am giving this book a 5. I understand now why things had to happen. It was a little bit of a drag reading a lot about it, but the ending of this book, okay? Honestly, like, I'm so satisfied. And I know there's 2 more books in the series left. And I know there's so many other things and issues to cover, but I was satisfied with this ending. After reading the tragic scene that shattered and broke my heart in 2, I'm so glad that it ended the way it did. Okay, I'm so glad. Let's talk about the characters, or let's talk about some of the characters, okay? Because I'm not going to cover all of them, because there's a lot of other characters that are introduced into this book, and I'm not going to be covering all of them because that would be just too long. But let's talk about the main ones that I've followed so far. Feyre. She just continues to wow me and surprise me, and I love her. I love her as if she was one of my best friends. Like, I love her to death. Tamlin? Let's talk about Tamlin, because Tamlin, I've been so up and down with my feelings with him. He has redeemed himself in this book. He did something so loyal and honorable. I'm like, okay, you're forgiven. You're forgiven for everything else that has happened prior. You were forgiven, because what he did was so selfless that it was just so honorable. And I'm not going to say it anymore, but you have to read this series. Rhysand, my favorite book boyfriend or book lord of all time. I love him. Again, You learn more about him. You learn why he does the things that he does. And he's just so admirable. Such a good character. I love him to death. I love him. I will stand in that battlefield with him because I love him so much. Lucian, too. He redeemed himself so much. I considered him kind of like a brother to Feyre. I love him. I love what he did in this story. I love how he contributed. I love what he's grown to be as character. Let's see, who else should we talk about? Amren? My God, Amren? What? Again, this book was so emotional for me. I don't know if I cried in the other books. I think this book is the one that made me cry. So far, I have bawled my eyes out in this book. Amren, another amazing character that you just learn more and more of her as the books go on. Morgan, I think that's how you say her name. Love her. I've always loved her. I love her quirky attitude. I just love her. She has such a good supportive role in this book. She's so loyal. I love her. Cassian, again, I love Cassian. I love him to death. I love how loyal and how willing he is to do things. Same with Asriel. I love how loyal he is to his High Lord. I love how loyal he is to his court and to his friends and to those he considers family. I love these characters so much. Elaine, still the sweetest character. Love her. We get to learn more about her, same as Nesta. Nesta has redeemed herself because even though she is cranky and rude and just vicious, like she's very bitter and vicious, you learn more about her. You learn why she is the way she is. When you get a little glimpse or speck of her personality or her heart opening up, it just means the world because you don't really expect that from her. So I love that about her. Who else did I want to talk about? Also, Feyre and her sisters, their father, like, just saying, out of nowhere, guys. Just out of nowhere. That's all I'm going to say. And you know, Sarah J Maas also does a very good job at making you love and like the very vicious, ugly, cruel characters in here, the creatures that you're not supposed to like, that you're supposed to despise because they're just evil. For some reason, these creatures that you are shown to despise, to hate because they're just disgusting and just nasty creatures that are basically the enemies, you learn to like some of them and honor them and be admired by their actions. Even though you're supposed to not like them, you end up liking them for what they do in this book. So those are my thoughts. Again, this book is a 5-star. This whole series to me is 5-star. Hands down. I love it so much. You need to read it. Now I'm on the fence because I was gonna take a break from reading the next 2 books because I was just finding myself a little bit burnt out, just because most of this book, I already explained why. But now I have to read at least the next book in the series, which is, let me go get it, A Court of Frost and Starlight, and this is literally 270 pages, I think, and then maybe take a break from the last book of the series, or not, I don't know, I might jump into it, or I might take a break, read a romance just to change my palette, but I will continue to vlog this series spoiler free. I'm excited for what's to come, and I'm kind of dreading it because I don't want the series to end because I love it so much. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you on my next video. Bye!